So you're related to Queen Elizabeth and King Charles, or at least that's what you've heard. Or maybe you've been told that you're related to some other famous person. How can you figure out if that's actually true? One of the most common ways to approach that situation usually ends up being one of the most frustrating ways to approach the situation. And that is starting with the famous person and trying to track all of their descendants until you find that connection. There are a couple of problems with this approach. First, you don't know what line to follow. All it takes is a generation or two with a lot of children, and pretty soon you have a lot of wild goose chases. On top of that, you might not even be starting at the right place. Related to doesn't necessarily mean descended from. Your connection to that famous person might not be that you descend from that famous person. You might be a cousin of some sort, which means that the connection to that famous person might be a little bit further back in their family tree. Suddenly, you have a lot more lines that you would have to explore. A more successful strategy for finding your connection to a famous person is to approach that connection from both sides, looking at the famous person's family tree along with your own family tree. And yes, you're going to want to look at surnames, but pay attention to the locations. Are there any places where your family and their family were there at the same time? That's the part of the family trees that you will want to concentrate on. This is a strategy that I used myself with my in-laws' family. My father-in-law had told me that his father's family was somehow related to the artist Howard Chandler Christie. When he told me that, I had already done a fair amount of research on my father-in-law's tree, and I had never seen the Christie surname. Rather than researching all of the Christies everywhere and trying to find a connection, I employed the strategy of looking at both trees at the same time. I already had my father-in-law's tree, so I started to learn a little bit about Howard Chandler Christie. And I discovered that he was born in Morgan County, Ohio. Looking at my father-in-law's tree from Morgan County, that helped me narrow down what branches of the tree to look at. Researching Howard Chandler Christie just a little bit more, I discovered the names of his parents, and his mother's maiden name was Bone. That's a surname that's in my father-in-law's family tree. And guess what? They're in Morgan County, Ohio. A little bit more sleuthing, and I determined that my father-in-law's great-grandmother and Howard Chandler Christie were actually first cousins. So the connection wasn't through the Christie line, it was through the Bone line. If I had focused only on researching the Christie surname, it would have been a long time before I made that connection. There is a tool that you can use to kind of jumpstart this process, and that is tapping into a collaborative family tree. What I mean by collaborative is that everybody is pooling into one big tree, rather than having individual trees like you see on Ancestry. Some examples of collaborative family trees would be Family Search, Genie.com, or my favorite collaborative family tree, which is WikiTree. You can take your family tree information and add it to these collaborative family trees. And then each one of them has tools to show how you're related to other people in the tree. Keep in mind, any family tree, whether it's collaborative or individual, it's only going to be as accurate as the person who is contributing to it. So you'll want to take that information, look at the different sources, and evaluate for yourself how accurate that connection is. Want to make more discoveries in your family tree? Check out this video that I have on the screen right now, or that I have linked down in the description. And go make some great discoveries in your family history.